Hi, everybody. Welcome to Terry TV. This is me, Terry Hardin. No one else is sitting in front of you. I'm a pop icon, Disney legendary Imagineer, Jim Henson Muppeteer, etc., etc., etc. How are you today? It's Friday, and you haven't seen me in a while because I took 4 days off for Memorial Day, and I'm super, super happy about that. I really, really needed that time to get some things together. Also, Memorial Day is a great time for you to take advantage of, besides honoring those veterans out there. And my dad was a veteran. So, of course, I sat and tipped a cup in his direction with great joy. I just realized my teacup was not on its warmer, which is defeating the purpose for tea. But it was really great. I got some much needed rest. There's been a lot going on, lots of things crossing and crissing and crossing. So a lot of good things happening, a lot of happy bubbles, and then a lot of challenging things. So these 4 days were allowed me to sort of sit and reflect and figure out what are some of the directions that I want to go and how do I want to move forward. First of all, let me thank you, those of you who have reached out to have me as a guest on your podcasts. Feel free to continue to do that. I'm very grateful that you even would want me as a guest. I think that it honors me that you put me in a group with so many talented people that are interviewed. At really, thank you. Not that I'm humble, but I'm sometimes a little challenging to find. What exactly did she do? I don't necessarily have credits. If you go to IMDb, there's not a lot because one of the challenges I have with IMDb, and it's just that I don't really, how can I say this nicely? It doesn't really matter that much to me as far as anyway. For Ghostbusters, I wasn't listed in the credits. So when I told them I worked on Ghostbusters, they were like, we need proof. And I sent the Variety article that Richard Edlin had posted, and they still have yet to act on it. So I'll stick with my 2 Wikipedia pages. It's not that big a deal. I have this broadcast. I can tell you about it. And it's very, very exciting to just to be able to tell the stories. And usually, depending on a movie that I've worked on Country Bears and Men in Black and et cetera, et cetera. I basically talk about what it feels like to be on these films and what it's like to work with a lot of the people. I was saying the other day to my husband that I've had some real great opportunities to speak with some major icons in my life and actually learn about them face to face, which is what I'm about. I'm 66 years old. Next month is my birthday month, and uh, it's exciting for me to be able to say that before social media and these phones that follow you everywhere, we talked face to face. That was the way that we did it, and it's still my favorite way to talk to people is face to face, learning about them and having a conversation. And this may be old school to many of you who use your phones to communicate, and I use it, but it's not my favorite communication source. And those of you who do communicate know that if you're not careful in your emails and your texts, if you don't reread them and are careful before you send them, you could send something that you don't necessarily mean to send, or because spell check has, thrown you under the bus, that spell checker is not necessarily the best thing in both the text and in email. So you want to make sure that you check it to make sure what it suggests you want to say is what you really want to say. Read it over a couple of times. Make sure the sound of it, the feel of it, because in writing, you can't look at the person's face and get the feeling of what the statement is, how the statement is given, because it's just black type on white background, and that's a drag. So I caution you. The other day, I don't remember if I told you this story, but I will, and then we'll get into the Parade of the Planets, which I'm very excited. Many of you know, if you've watched me before, that I'm really a space freak. I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a little girl, but I get motion sick watching video games. It's really a drag. But so to be an astronaut, I've heard that many astronauts get motion sick, But I don't know. I decided that probably wasn't the best course for me, so I took a different direction. And I just really admire being around people who fly planes and go into space. I want to give a shout out to Story Musgrave because I met him in Florida at a special luncheon where a bunch of us was there, and then afterwards I waited and I had a little conversation with him, and we kind of hit it off. So as buddies, we hit it off. So I write to him occasionally, send him an email and say, "How you doing, Story? Just thinking of you, and wondered if you'd like this." And I sometimes send him a little gift or whatever. But he was responsible for being being the captain, the guy who drives the ship on shuttle missions when it was the space shuttle. Um, I thought that it would be kind of cool to have him on a SpaceX mission just for nostalgia's sake, but I don't know how they work. But I just thought they should put Story in that new streamlined SpaceX Dragon because that's like my favorite. I love that Dragon, and it's called Dragon. So why am I even, has me at hello calling it the Dragon? But as I told you, I was about to leave a comment. I noticed that one of my friends was on speaking that hadn't been on in a while. And I went to type in, "Howdy, stranger. It's been a long time." Well, I got an alert from Facebook that said something in your comments are inappropriate. I don't even know if it said inappropriate, but it said, "Do you still want to post this?" And I looked at it. "Howdy, stranger. Haven't seen you in a long time. You know, love to have lunch," or something. I wrote, "love to connect," or something. And I kept thinking, okay, does "love to connect," is that the wording that's wrong? But it turned out to be "howdy, stranger." It turned out that Facebook believes or is concerned about saying "howdy, stranger." So I had to say, "Hello, my friend. Haven't seen you in a while." I had to change it, and then Facebook let it through. Now, they would have let it through as "howdy, stranger." I don't want you to think that they were telling me how to speak, but they did warn that I could get dinged for it. And in my world, "howdy, stranger" does not mean "howdy, stranger." Do you know what I mean? So really weird, really strange, but just a caveat. I just much rather talk face to face to people because they can see through my body language and my facial expressions how it's given. Sometimes if you hit a capital when you shouldn't, or a word's all capitalized, it sounds like shouting. And you just got to be careful. And it's a lot to be thinking about, especially when you're almost 67 and you'd really rather not think about it. Yeah. I mean, I just think people are too sensitive about certain things. And I'm not going to say what those certain things are, but I just, I think I lost I rolled my eyes with manhole cover, which is the cover that is on the street that allows you to go into the sewer system. They said they could no longer call it a manhole cover, and I'm like, really? Come on, guys, you're worrying too much. I feel that's worrying too much. You can post it in the comments if you disagree with me, and you can explain to me why it should be called something different. I don't know what they call them now, but they did change it. So just like "howdy, stranger," I guess I am thankful for Facebook for keeping me from getting dinged, because I would have been sit there, many of you have mentioned that you've been in Facebook jail. Maybe you said something that was good, back in the day. And I'm not saying back in the day that there weren't. I mean, back in the day, there were things that were said that were absolutely appalling. I mean, I know, okay, things that were done that were appalling, okay, but that was one that kind of caught me off guard. So, yeah. But Parade of the Planets. Have you heard of this? I'm sure you have. If you like space, you're going to know. I mean, I'm going to talk about a few things space today. First of all, Parade of the Planets. So, Parading of the Planets is I don't want to say it's a thing. I guess I can just say it's a thing. It's a thing that happens every so often. The planets line up. Now, you're not going to be able to see them as well with the naked eye, but you still are going to be able to see them, because a planet doesn't necessarily twinkle. A planet doesn't twinkle like a star. but it does sit up there, and it sometimes can change colors. And we got what, 5, 6 of them going to be in a line. Best time to see them is going to be Monday. That's this coming Monday. And what is that? June 3rd, right? This coming Monday, June 3rd, and just an hour before sunrise, they say it's going to be the best time to see it. However, if the weather has been like it's been here in Southern California, we're cloudy. I mean, we are just breaking sunlight right now. We're just breaking through the cloud cover because it's my month, June gloom. And I love June gloom. I love June gloom. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, yeah. I live for June gloom. So, in order to see the parade of the planets, you're going to have to get above that cloud cover. Okay. Now, you could easily get up, go the net, like you could go Sunday night and stay someplace that's up in the mountains or into camping or something. Or if you are camping, or if you are in the mountains and the hills, you might already be there. You might already have it fine. You're going to need to get up and high so that you can go above those clouds in order to see the parade of the planets. But sound kind of cool to me. I always like it when I can see Mars and Saturn. So there's a couple of times I pulled my telescope out when Saturn has been kind of close, and I love looking at that. And then later on or earlier or whatever, see Mars and red moons. I love those. I go crazy for the blood moons and all the cool things, the super moons and all that kind of stuff is really cool. So super excited about that, and hearing about the parade of the planets. I had some friends over the other day. We were talking about the total eclipse. I didn't get to go to see the total eclipse, but in 2 years, there's going to be another total eclipse, and it's going to be in Iceland. And I'm thinking of going there to check it out because I have a friend in Iceland, an instructor that I think is amazing. So it'd be nice to kind of make it an all-inclusive trip where I could go see him and see the eclipse as well. It would be very, very cool. Of course, Iceland is a big country, so I have to make sure I'm in a spot where I can see it. I don't think all of Iceland is going to see a total eclipse, so I have to make sure where in Iceland is a total eclipse. But I missed it in the US. I just couldn't make it work because I had an event that I was a part of that Saturday and Sunday, and then to scoot out, it just didn't work out for me. So I missed out. But I love seeing it here. It's just that everyone, and I watched it on KTLA had a really great streaming service. I love KTLA 5, which is a local channel here. I'm obsessed with it. I've been watching them since I was a little girl. And they had a live stream where the news reporters, as the moon made its ecliptic arc through Central and over towards New York, they they cut to each reporter who was about to see the eclipse, and each reporter talked about the effect it was having on them as it happened. So you had about, it crossed over, I think there was like maybe a dozen broadcasts. One broadcast was like, doggone it, we're in Buffalo, we can't see it. It's a little dark, but we don't see it. So, meh. But there was places that did see it. And I remember one reporter, I can't remember his name, but he said the thing that really surprised, once the eclipse goes into total and it lasts 4 minutes, that there's no noise. The birds aren't chirping. The animals aren't howling. It's dead silent, like you can hear a pin drop. Made me think of the time I as an Imagineer, I'm the designer of the Dragon's Lair in Paris. And one of the things that I asked to do was to go see a cave, because I knew the dragon was going to be in a cave, and I wanted to feel what it was like to be in a cave or cavern. I was really hoping that Disney would fly me to Carlsbad, and I came this close to getting them to do it, but didn't work because they found out about the Crystal Caves, which are in a national park north of here. And they said, well, we'll just pile all you Imagineers in a van. There are about 8 of us, and we'll drive up to Crystal Cave. But Crystal Cave was really, that the people of Crystal Cave were really wonderful. They opened the cave special for us because it was sort of off season. and they let the Imagineers go. We went by ourselves, so 8 of us went into a cavern all by ourselves. And one of the things the guy did, the person who was guiding us, said that when you're in a cave, one of the most eerie experiences is to be in it in total darkness. So this is what I was thinking about with the eclipse, was that I wonder if it's like it was when I was in this cave, because when the darkness hit, he actually turned off the lights in the cave that guided you through it for your tours, and it was pitch black. And you could hear a pin drop, but what was really very strange, and I'll never forget it, is that I could feel the darkness crawling on my skin. I could actually feel it crawling on my skin. I could feel it walking on my skin, if you can believe that. It was so bizarre. Those of you who are cave people who like to drop into caves and do all that sort of stuff, which is not my thing, but I really, really, that feeling was really eerie. And just about the time you thought you might go mad, because was it the darkness crawling on you or what? You know, he turned the light on and your whole body went, it very, very strange. And although I wanted to do that for Dragon's Lair in Paris, of course we can't, because you guys have got to be able to see where you're walking. But you can imagine when you walk into the cavern from the outside in Paris, you go underneath the castle and you visit the dragon underneath, that your eyes have to adjust. So you get that fleeting moment of quiet and not moving because you need to adjust your eyes to light to dark. So it's not the same, but maybe a little taste. So anyway, made me wonder about that. So this Parade of the Planets is a, natural thing, and it's going to be fun if you can see it. Hopefully you can get a telescope out and you can really see it. So maybe we'll get lucky and not be overcast on Monday, but it is June gloom. So if you really want to see it, you have to get above that cloud layer, don't you? So that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about today, is that, because I think that sounds just really amazing. And on Monday, we'll talk more. I mean, I'll talk about if we saw it. Did you get to see it? Stuff like that. But then we'll talk about maybe a little more stuff. Okay. But yeah. Also, wanted to mention to you that the tribe and I, what's that? You don't know about the tribe? Well, shame on me. Why don't I tell you about Terri's tribe? I will do that right now. Terri's Tribe is my Patreon page, and for as little as $5 a month, you can be a part of it. I encourage you to be a part of it because your voice needs to be heard. If you're someone who likes Disney, this is a great page. But if you're someone who likes other things, you're passionate about anything else, come and share it with us so that we can learn and see it through your eyes. The best way I like to learn about things is through someone who's passionate about it. So let's talk about planes. I really, really loved talking about planes with pilots. I got lucky enough one time to sit next to a representative of the FAA, and we talked all the way home on the bus about what it was like to be with the FAA. He told me things like Southwest rents their airplane motors. How does that work if they become delinquent on their payments? We'll be flying today, but we don't have any motors. It was really interesting. And that's what I said to him. He said, no, it's worked out. But he said, yeah, he said, many planes rent their components that put the plane together. I don't know if this is good or bad, I told him, but it was great to hear about the FAA from someone from the FAA. Just like it's wonderful to hear about the CIA from someone who's CIA. But if you talk to someone from the CIA, and I have, he has to tell you what he can as a CIA agent, but most of it he or she cannot, because after all, they're CIA. So they did not have to say, if I told you that, I'd have to kill you, unless they were joking. But my point is, it's much more fun to hear from the source. So if you're someone who's passionate about what you do, you are an artist, and we'd love for you to join Terri's Tribe. It's a great group of people. We are very upbeat and very fun-loving. I do a private broadcast before this one every Monday and Friday, if Facebook allows, and I'll go into that another time. It's just they've made some changes to private pages, broadcasting live in private groups, and I am technically challenged, so it's a challenge. But I keep today it went smooth as silk. Uh, so it was great. But and we also have a Zoom call once a week. Sometimes I'll do it twice a week, but right now we're designing something special for Disneyland's birthday, and so I will be bringing that to you at a later time. Right now it is in the works. But you can help me with my sculptures, you can help me with my sketches, you can help me with a lot of concept art, things that you might want to be doing. Doesn't have to be painting, drawing, or performing. It can be anything. We have rocket scientists in our group. We have ambassadors in our group, cast members in our group, people who love Lego, people who love to give. So they're charity based, philanthropistic based, all kinds of walks of life. You just have to have that desire to have that artist mind, that creative mind. Maybe you haven't had the chance to be inspired creatively. Maybe that's been squashed in your life, or maybe you dream of doing what you love. We have podcasters too in there. It's just a great group of people that is respectful to each other. So if you think you'd like to be a part of it, take a month. It's only $5, and take a peek and see if it's something that you'd like to be a part of. If not, we'll say go with love. But this is an important group. And because I'm an artist and a very busy one, I want to make sure that I spend my major time with people who are willing to put skin in the game. And all I ask is that $5. So patreon.com/Terri Hardin, or simply Google Terri Hardin, or go to Patreon and put my name in it. All works. And then take a look at the different levels. But the $5 level gets what I've told you before. Okay? How about that jazz? Anyway, it's a great group, and we are working on some projects right now as we speak. So it's pretty doggone exciting. Let's go over to you and see what you have to say. Have you got something cool planned for the weekend? I am having a little bit of a challenge, as I said, with Facebook. So the tribe is going to help me through the week to see if there's another alternative that works better. And this is where the tribe really helps me. So there you go. Let's see what we've got here from Crazy Mike around the world in 80 minutes with Terri, or was it 80 days? Yes, I can talk a while, can't I? I've already filled 22 minutes, haven't I? It's Friday. Well, Terri will be live streaming soon. So I love that some of you, come in a little bit early to just kind of fill the comments before I go. Now, this is a result of just a great uh, group of people. I got to tell you, it's neat when you connect. Sometimes one tree will bear a lot of fruit, and there doesn't mean you guys are fruity. Of course, you could be fruit and sweet, and sweet like fruit, but it's just that I can't. Oh, I do remember. Peter McDivitt has an amazing podcast, and many of these people that you see here, if you're not part of Peter's podcast, you need to be, because the man has been absolutely so generous, and Anne Marie so sweet, and all of you guys just so kind. He, at the top of when I was being interviewed by him, and my dear friend Joel Christopher Payne was the one that suggested that I be on, and then Peter just really was so generous. He went and he did the studying. He looked at my channel and he said, this girl only has a few hundred following her on YouTube. And actually, I'm really good with that. I mean, I encourage you to subscribe, but if it's not to your liking, you want to know how to do something, or you want something a little more specific. This is looking into my brain, so we could be anywhere. It might not be your cup of tea, and I get that. Oh, speaking of cup of tea, I think I'll drink some of mine. Oh. Cheers to you. But I just love the way that all of you, all of these people came over, and they were just sweet as pie. They were just so generous to follow my channel and then stay. Because honestly, I told Peter, they may come, but they're not going to stay, and y'all stay. So thank you for staying, and thank you for supporting, and thank you for your love. You actually are a number one choice people, and just so kind and so sweet. Just really, really appreciated that. I am willing to be a guest on a podcast, not for my own self, but I realize how hard it is to be a podcaster. Often people have said, "You interested in doing a podcast where you interview someone else?" And I said, "No. I'm happy to be a guest, but I don't want to do it. You guys work really hard to make your podcast work. And there's a lot of you out there. So I'm sure that it takes a lot of dedication and ingenuity to do a podcast. And I'm very, very grateful to every single one of you who has taken that on. And that's why I'm happy to be a guest. But wow, 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 wow. So also Debbie's in the house saying hello. And Crazy Mike asks if so was my dad. He was an Army grunt combat medic. Oh wow, he was a medic. Wow, my dad was in the Korean War. He passed away last year, and I just came across some really cool pictures of him that just were amazing. As he took a minute to stand with some of his buddies, and there's one of him that I remember as a little girl where he's on one knee and he's getting a picture of his army picture and stuff. But thank you to all veterans is all I can say. Remember I told you I like stories coming straight from people. My dad had years ago, my dad had a knee replacement surgery. I remember at the time I kept begging the doctor to replace both of them at the same time. And the doctor said, we don't do that, because I knew my dad would go in once and then not do it. And guess what my dad did? He went in once and he never went and fixed the other leg. So he had trouble with it the rest of his life. He managed, but I really kept saying, maybe we should get the other one done. And then when he wanted the other one done, it was too late. They were just too worried about him being so advanced in his years that it would be dangerous for him. So the doctor said no. So my dad had to sort of live with it. But when he was in rehab for the first knee, I met a World War veteran who had been with a team of Americans who went in the concentration camps to release the Jewish and to release the people. The day that the Allies hit German soil and they cracked open the gates, and they told these people they were safe, that there was not going to be any more of these atrocities, that they were here to save them, to help them, to get them food and home and to safety, blah, blah, blah. He talked about what it was like to crack open that gate, to snap that gate open and to walk in and to see people that looked like leaves. They ran up to him. Now, he was in his 90s, I think, at the time, maybe late 80s. He was getting, he had lost his leg, so he was learning how to walk with a new leg. And he was amazing. I could sit and talk with him for hours because the stories were coming from him, his eyes to my heart. And I love this. This is why I love the art of conversation. And I don't think that anyone should lose it. Speaking face to face is a wonderful experience. And I hope that nobody loses it. But I remember really well how he said about 50 people hugged him and he felt like he was surrounded by leaves. They were so delicate. They were so fragile. They were so light. And they were so thin. So, wow. These kind of stories help make it like there are people out there that don't think the Holocaust was real, which I don't even understand that. But they do. And if you hear from these veterans, you learn very quickly that it was, and not that I ever had any doubts. But the point is that he talked about it, just how he was feeling at that point, and how he was grateful to be where he was at that time. Amazing story. So I love stories from you to me that talk about anything, your joys or whatever. But I like that better than a text or a Gmail or a video or this. This is fun, but this isn't my favorite way to do things. It's a fun way to do it, but it's not my favorite way. What I love about this is I can reach across the globe, and there's only so much of you can dish out if you're doing face to face to face to face. So this is wonderful to meet people all over the world during on a YouTube or a Facebook or social media. So I appreciate it. It's just I'd much rather see you face to face. That's the truth of the whole thing. So thank you to your dad for being a medic. Thank you so much. Evan says, good morning. Do you have any idea why everyone is at Disneyland Paris right now? Brett, Jim, Jimmy, Tony Baxter. I couldn't tell you because the anniversary is in April. Wait. Yeah. Oh, it might be June 12th, actually. It could be the anniversary, June 12th. Because there's a special thing in April. Liz used to know all that. But I think maybe it might be June 12th. That's the anniversary. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will ask an expert, because that's the way you do things, is you ask an expert. And in our tribe, we used to have a wonderful expert, but she's gotten busy lately. And now, the thing about this that always makes you laugh is that I'm not there. But, oh well, I digress. I'm just asking her now. I think it's the anniversary. Evan. Here, we'll find out from her. I'm asking her right now for you. Probably including her. If they're there, she's there. She never misses. That's why she's a Disneyland Paris expert. She even snuck away to go when Disneyland Paris was open and the UK was in lockdown. She was funny because I'm going to wait and hear her ding. Here we go. I'm going to turn it on so I can hear her ding to me if we find out if she says it. Anyway, I still communicate with her, even though she's gotten a bit busy. But yeah, it's the tribe is a great place to gather. We'll see if she answers me, Evan, and then we'll share it with everybody. And then these guys are cross-talking. Let's see. Here we go. Crazy Mike gives a tip before going on a trip. Put a paper cup of water in the freezer, then put a coin on top of the ice. So when you get home, if the coin is still on top, food safe to eat. Coin on the bottom, food bad. Oh, hey. Wow, that's interesting. Let's see. He says here, the power went out and the ice melted and then refrozen. That's clever. That's very clever, Mike. What made you think of that? That makes me think, hey, what made you think of that ice, like a frozen cup and then ice on them and then I mean, there's other ways we can tell, but I like this. This feels like what did they call that? Farmer's Almanac? A Farmer's Almanac tip. Okay, nothing from her yet, but hopefully we'll get something. Hey, Frank Cohen in the house. Okay, I'm just looking at the comments and saying, let's not put Terri on a plane. Vomit comment, NASA plane. It flies up, then power dies, and you get, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's people now, according to Story Musgrave, everybody gets sick. Okay, that motion sickness should not be a detriment to you becoming an astronaut, is what he's saying. But it was for me, you know, it was for me. Joe Penny says, "Hey, you're on today." Yes, I am, dear Joe. And Crazy Mike says, Facebook police are crazy. They live in a bubble and the rest of the world does not. It was weird. It was just weird how I had to take that sentence I had was going to post, that comment, and dissect it to figure out what was it that was bad, because I saw, nothing. So that was the deal. Frank says, I'd say provide the Facebook participants with tools to identify BS. For example, I can use the like emoji to mark a post or comment as like, heart, wow, sad, angry. What's the poop emoji? And why don't I have control that shows me more or less poop messages? Why is Facebook itself my agent for eliminating misinformation? I'd go even further with the meta universe. Give me the capability of adding my own defined emojis to comment and let me share that emoji with others. Why not trust us? He's got a point. I think that I was just clicking on it to see if I could see the rest, but it won't give me the rest. But I will say that he has a point. A lot of us are treated like I don't even want to say like kids, because like we don't know. I mean, there are some, okay. A lot of times if they say don't, if someone says don't, it's because someone has, and it's upset somebody. Okay. I learned that in the world of sign language, that signs are changing, because certain signs meant certain things at certain times, and now younger people coming up into the world of sign language are saying that's inappropriate. So they're changing signs. They're changing the sign language to be more appropriate. And this was fascinating to me. I actually went to a celebration of life of my dear friend MJ Luzzy, and his friend Annie has siblings who are deaf, and we had met before. And so when they come to see me, one of the things that is like, instead of clapping like this, you do this to show how happy you are. Like, this is like, yay, or bravo. But this is just a symbol that you do that. So when I saw them, we were all like this, and smiling. And they read lips pretty well, but I just felt like I'd love to learn some sign language to communicate. So one of the things that they really seem to enjoy is I'll say, "Oh, wait, wait." And then I'll take my fingers and I'll go, "Okay, I learned a new sign." And so I go like this, and then they were like, that they went like this, I think. Wait, this. So I was like this with it, and then they went like this, and that's the sign for I love you. So this is what's cool is I'll say, "Oh, I learned a new sign." And then I went like this, and they went like this. They just picked my finger up like that. This is I love you. So I was really tickled by that. And then I said, wait, wait, wait. I have new sign. And I did this one, which means take a picture. And they went like this. And then they put my other hand down and they said, also, yes, but also take a picture. So this or this is right. So this is what I'm saying. The fun part of learning is to do it with people who know it and are with you. And we were at the celebration of life, and they were helping me with certain signs that I had learned. And they got a giggle out of me making the effort. So it was really special, very, very special. But they also told me that there was changes, and this was through Annie, who was translating a little bit more, because they wanted to tell me that sign language has changed. So if I learned it, make sure that I know those new changes. Like Japan used to be this. They used to take a hand and go like this, meaning the shape of their eyes. But now since they realize could be considered a racist statement, they draw the image of Japan on their body for a sign language or something like that. So it's really impressive to hear the shifts and changes that they're doing from them doing it. Why are they doing it and what have they changed it to? And it's pretty cool. It's very, very cool. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Debbie says, sorry you had to endure that, Terri. You're right. Everyone is sensitive these days. You just don't know what is right way to say something. And what I'm saying is that because of that, you need to lead with tolerance. Okay. Give the person the benefit of the doubt. If they're not leaning into you and growling at you and making a mad face, then chances are it's faux pas. One of my favorite people to watch in films, making them and being in them, is Clint Eastwood. And he did one not too long ago called The Mule. And there's a sequence, if you haven't seen this, it's a really cool movie. I think it's one of his better ones. And I love the way Clint Eastwood has transitioned from a young, somewhat sexy, edgy character like Dirty Harry or Blondie to this old man who is going through life, experiencing stuff or adjusting to stuff as an old man. And in The Mule, he does just that. He just stumbles into something that works out for him and a lot. And he loves to drive, so he drives and he comes upon this car where the person has had a flat tire and the person is trying to get a signal in the middle of nowhere with his phone. How many times have we done that? And he says to them, you Negro people. And they go, Negro people. And he says, and he looks at them and he says, and the wife seems to realize that he's not being mean. He stopped to help them. But she says, we don't go by that anymore. And he says, you don't? And she says, no. And he says, okay. And he says, what do you go by? And she says, we go by black or people, just people. And he says, all right, let's get that tire fixed. So the point is that a lot of times, if you're edgy with the chip, the angry chip on your shoulder, that you're going to react to someone who is just innocently making a mistake. I think you know the difference. You're a smart cookie. If someone is growling and snarling at you, sure, they're not making an innocent mistake. They're being racist. But if they're, sitting next to you and something slips out and you say, hey man, that's not cool. And they, what do you mean? A lot of times that's what happens. Person just reads, what do you mean? What do you mean? So lead with tolerance across the board. Across the board. I'll tell you right now that for me as an older person, I'm still wrapping my head around binary. All right? Binary. I don't know why binary people call themselves they, because it feels a little bit like Sybil to me. I'm being honest. Like you have a lot of people inside you instead of you being nondescript. Okay. And I remember sitting down with a very wonderful young lady who was transitioning into binary, who took time to explain to me. And she heard me. She sat down with me and she listened to what I had to say. Because I said, as an older person, I might slip. I could slip into a she because I met you as a she. I know you as a she. And so I'm not doing it to diss your new transition. It's just you got to have a little more patience with people who knew you for a very long time. It's going to take time. It's going to take time for them. And sometimes they may never fully get it, but they may correct it. In the case of my friend MJ Luzzy, he was a she when others knew him, and then he transitioned into a he, and I met him as a he, not a she. So I had no problem saying he, but others said, forgive me at the celebration of life, because they would say she, he, because they knew both lives. And so they said, this is something that, and they were older people, just but as these things progress, lead with tolerance. Don't be the first to be angry first. Be tolerant first. And the world will be a better place. Sorry if that was too long. Not too long. Don't apologize, Frank. We talk very openly here. So don't apologize. Just, I think that was great what you said. So no need to apologize. Fun fact, back in the day, we didn't say back in the day. That phrase only started becoming common in the 90s. We used to say back in my day, back in the old days, but not back in the day. And this is one of the fun things I find with Joe Penny is that he has some history that is a lot of fun to hear. It's wonderful to talk about movies with him, especially since I like old black and white films. I was raised on black and white science fiction films, and I was talking about a film called The Giant Claw on the Zoom call the other day. Because if you have a little kid who wants to watch a monster movie, he's 3 or so, and you don't want to show him something like Predator, which is pretty not great for a 3-year-old, in my opinion, but you may be raising your child differently. But if you want your child to get involved in monster movies, Giant Claw, The Giant Claw, which you can see on, my tribe looked it up and said you can see it free on Tubi. And it's fun because that Tubi goes something like something Tubi, and it's really cute. The little woo 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 Tubi. I don't know. I love the way it opens. Anyway, Tubi's got it. The Giant Claw. You can sit down with your little youngsters and know they won't be afraid. The history behind this movie, and I know Joe knows as well, is that in Hollywood, they decided to make this monster movie often kind of a B movie, but these people all take it very seriously. So it's not like, ha, 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 silly movie. No, they take it very seriously, and that's what makes the movie so much fun. But they went to Mexico. Well, they didn't go to Mexico, but they reached out to Mexico and asked them to build the monster, and they described it. I don't think they really sketched it, but they described it. And so Mexico built it. And it's kind of like that cartoon that you see with the tires where it says what was described, how it was built, what the children wanted. Have you ever seen that with the tire swing? Anyway, I'm sure you have. If you've not, look it up. And it's the same deal, that the miscommunication between these people created this monster that is absolutely silly, and it's really fun. So if you want to have a fun popcorn movie, black and white, to sit with your little kids, it is great. And I've recommended it before to people with little kids, and they always come back and go, now I cannot get that movie off my TV because the little kids love it so much. So think about it. Giant Claw. It's really fun. So basically, Joe, back in the day, back in my day, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And that's cool. Crazy Mike has got a crazy set up the Tim Taylor home improvement fan, the bin Ford, 10 lots of zeros, and blow the clouds away. See, I won't do that because I like June gloom. I was born in June for a multitude of reasons, and God knew it. So that's why I am the perfect. June is perfect for me to be born in. I was born on the longest day of the year because the Lord knew that I needed every second of every minute of every hour of every day. So it's the perfect. And I love cool weather. So why am I living in Southern California? I don't know. No, I do know. I love being here, and there's not really another place I want to be. But I do love this weather. This weather is going to, before we know it, it's going to be hotter than you know what. So I am grateful for all of these cool months who have led up to June gloom. And I'm grateful that I got May gray and June gloom together. So I won't be doing that. But other people might want to try it. Hi, Pat. How are you? It's my month too. I didn't realize that we share June birthdays. Manhole cover is a manhole cover. I absolutely agree with you. Yes, Pat. Don't you just, you just want to go, really? Really? I mean, that's me. Really? Come on now. That's, I don't know. I just think. That's what I think. I just think. That's it. You didn't really miss much with the eclipse. Plenty of photos on Instagram if you need to get caught up. Same with the recent northern lights. Well, now, Joe, I think that being there, standing there, I had two friends come and visit me. They've been to two eclipses. They drove. They like jumped in the car and drove. And one of the things they pointed out is that you know how once in a while, well, maybe this has never happened to you, but you know how once in a while you get that friend who sort of invites themselves along and then tries to navigate your whole trip. So, for example, I'd love to tag along with you to go down to Disneyland or up to the family museum. Okay. Let's say that's a friend. Can you drop, since you're going, can I tag along? Well, the idea here, guys, is to tag along. They're driving, they're spending their money, they're spending their gas, and they're swinging by and getting you. So you can have a decision and you can have an opinion, but don't take over the entire trip like they're supposed to be chauffeurs and you are the person they're taking care of. I can't be at this hotel because of this, or I can't be here, or I don't eat here, or I need to come home early. That is all being part of the problem, not part of the solution. But we get those people, don't we? Every once in a while, there'll be a person, or maybe we are those people, where there'll be a person that just starts to tell you what the trip is going to be like and how it's going to happen. And I am so grateful when someone reaches out and says, like the other day for the celebration of life for my friend MJ, it was at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And if you're in Hollywood and have you ever been there, this place is amazing. You've got Rudolph Valentino buried there, Judy Garland buried there. Many of the top Hollywood people are in this Hollywood Forever Cemetery. So it's a great place to tour if you like it. It's a very interesting place. It's got a lot of beauty and it's just a cool graveyard cemetery to be in. And it's super neat. It's super neat. And I was really happy to hear that Michael was going to be put there because I think he loves celebrities and he loved being a part of the celebrity world. And so it was great. But Linda wrote to me, actually texted me and said, "You want to go? Are you going?" I said, "Of course I'm going." "You want me to drive you?" I said, "If you're willing to come and get me, I'd love it." And she came and she got me and we had a great time, gave us a chance to catch up on visiting. We are so both busy women. And so it was great to be able to talk to her and chat with her about anything and everything that was interesting to us. We don't, like I said, get to do that. It was lovely, but I was very grateful. I did do one thing. I know that she wanted to eat and I was just exhausted from it's not that it didn't hit her heavy. It hit me a lot. I mean, it hit me heavy. And I became very tired after it. I didn't know how I was going to react or how I was going to feel. I knew that I wanted to celebrate his life, but it was a real hole in my heart. And I mean, we know they're going up to a better place, but you still have a hole in your heart for you. And so that was what I was feeling. And then so close after my dad, him passing so close after my dad, it was just kind of a 1-2 punch. And then let's not forget Richard Sherman. I mean, we're getting hit with a lot of barrels. So let me see if she answered me at all. I don't think she did. Nope, not yet. I was hoping she would, but she didn't. But it's great. But so she was sweet enough to drive, and I told her I was very grateful because she just said, I'm sad too, but she was a bit more composed because I had a lot on my plate. She had a lot on hers too. She just was handling it better, maybe, I guess, is what I want to say. Thank you to Linda Rolls for driving. I was very grateful. It was great to have her by my side because she's very fun and funny and very frank and just what I needed. So it was great. It was great. Terry and WDW, on stuff you worked on, did you sign your name and a little cartoon face like Kilroy was here? No, but I have I don't know if I have it here. Let me see if I can pull it up fast. I don't know if I can pull it up fast, but we'll hope, right? Let's see if we can find it. Let's see. I'm going to try first. Recents. don't know if I can find it in recents. So I don't remember when I brought it over. I was going to show you something I did for Mattel. I did a piece for Mattel. I did a couple things for Mattel, but this one is pretty significant. And it is I don't see it here immediately. So we may not get lucky. Let's see if it's in commissions. No, it won't be in commissions. Nope, it's not under other sculptures. I'm going to look in a couple of my presentations because sometimes I put them in there. Don't see it. It's funny because you look at stuff and you pick different things to represent different ways you're doing stuff. And unfortunately, I am not seeing it. I was hoping I could catch it before. I'll look in commissions. Nope. Yeah, I can't find it. But anyway, I'll have to tell you about it because I don't see it here. One more look and then we'll go on to the world. Go into the world. Let's see if it's in favorites. Not in favorites either. Well, I will find it and tell you about it some other time because I don't know where it is. It is not where I thought it would be. I thought it would be rather easy to find. But when you do a lot of things, well, even if you don't, the one thing is continuing to categorize your pictures in a proper file. Because how many times are you scrolling through your phone going, I know that picture's in here and I can't find it now. And you spend forever going like this, trying to find it. And then you say to yourself, boy, if I would just categorize these a little better, life would be better. And you say that to yourself a million times, but somehow we get busy and we don't do it. So, yeah. I'm just going to say that is the way it is. And I'm streaking here fast, hoping that maybe it will come and show itself to me really quickly. But it's not. It's like, nope, forget it. You're not going to get it. Nope, forget it. Stop scrolling up. And the minute I said stop, I found it. Okay. So to answer your question, Crazy Mike, I'm going to hide your comment. And then I'm going to post right here. Here is a Mattel piece that I did when I worked at Mattel. Yes, I worked at Mattel. I sculpted this little Tigger. Okay, see that little Tigger right there? This is Flashlight Fun. You had Flashlight Fun characters. You had Skipper, her friend Janet, and forgive me, I can't remember the other friend. But each friend had a Winnie the Pooh character. And I was given Tigger. Can you believe that? And they didn't even know that Tigger is my namesake. But if you take this little Tigger figure out of the box, if you're able to find Flashlight Fun Janet, and you put a little ink behind his ear, I believe it is this ear. You put a little bit of ink back there, you can find my TH because I put a TH in there. At Mattel, they often told you to sign your sculptures and your work, but don't get caught. Okay, if you get caught, they'll make you erase it. Mattel doesn't want the sculptors hiding their names in their pieces. But my friend, who was my supervisor at the time, used to do a lot of action figures for characters, like the muscly ones. And you could, like, let's say He-Man. You guys remember He-Man? I know. It might be a little dated for you. Let's say Iron Man. He didn't do Iron Man, but let's say it's the Iron Man. You would twist backwards so that the butt was in the same plane as the chest and it would spell out his son's name. So that's how you knew he had sculpted that character for Mattel. So all kinds of fun stuff like that was cool. So that's what we did do. A lot of stuff like that, but not necessarily everywhere. Carl's back Crazy Mike, you're so cute. You were in the caverns. I love that because I wanted to go to Carlsbad. In fact, that's a good idea. I'm going to put that on my list of things to do in the US. So I could see the bats come out. I love bats. I'm a bat freak, so I love bats. So, yeah. Yes, my ceiling fan is on and running. It is constantly on and running. I like, what did I tell you? What did I say? I like the cold, right? Yeah, it's no different. I like the cold. Terry, the test pilot, Tex Janssen, that flew the 707, did a barrel roll over the crowd, wingtip to wingtip, full-size passenger plane during a barrel roll. Oh my God. Yeah, I say the same thing. Oh my goodness. And I'm glad I wasn't inside. My husband is like, he loves going fast. And he has been in those super fast Tomcat planes. Is that what they're called from Top Gun? He's been in one and flown. He's been in fast cars. And I'm like, blimp. I love flying in the blimp. And I remember when we climbed in there and the pilot turned to us and said, "We're not going to be going very fast." And I was like, yeah. I loved flying in the blimp. So I am blimp speed. Really not about going super, super fast. Just don't find that entertaining at all. But my husband does. My husband loves it. I remember when I have a Mustang, 2012 Mustang, and I just adore her. Her name is Silver. But when we went to buy it, it had been a dream car I'd wanted all my life. And so my husband said, "Let's go down and look at those. Let's go check those out." And as we were looking at the convertible Mustangs, mine's a convertible. I don't know if I mentioned that. And while we were looking at them, we walked past a Shelby. And the person, the dealer, was looking at us and he said, "Hey, why don't you climb in and try it?" And so my husband, the dealer, started it up in the showroom for us, and my husband climbed in. And those of you who have ever had the chance to have a little bit of Shelby underneath you, just it goes through your chest, just right in your, like, sort of like the Batmobile. It has that little rumble and And my husband's eyes rolled back of his head, and he was just really loving it. And I said, "It doesn't have to be my car. We could get this for you." And he said, "Nope." He said, "If you don't want your husband in jail for speeding, this car needs to stay right here on the showroom floor." So we got my convertible instead, but he loves to go fast. Yeah. I've often thought that it'd be fun for him. I think he's done it before, where you go on the track and you race some of these high-end cars. You see people with some of these high-end cars on the street and you go, what's the point? Because even if you're, late night speeding, you're going to get a ticket. So where can you go to own when you own one of those low slung, super fast cars? Is it really such a good idea in LA? The answer, I think, is no. So I know there's places in Michigan now where there is no speed limit. So that'd be a cool place to do it. But if you have that fancy fast car. But the point is that there are tracks that will allow you to get behind the wheel of these super fast cars, and then you can just really open it up. And I'm like, no, thank you. But if you want to go, I'll cheer you. Crazy says, I bet the president of Boeing had a change in his underwear at seeing it. Yeah, I guess he would. Yes. It's a little graphic, but yeah. I don't know, seeing that stuff. You said, did you see that Ryan Bingham and Hassie Harrison, both from Yellowstone, got married this week? No, I didn't. Thank you. That's you're going to have to tell me what characters they play, because I don't know them as human beings, only as characters. Isn't that interesting? Except for like people like Nicolas Cage, who has played like so many different characters. I couldn't begin to name all the characters he plays. I know some actors by name, but mostly you have to say so and so who plays such and such who plays so and so, and that helps me better. Yeah, I'm better with faces than names, just the way things are. Debbie says Pete McDivitt is amazing. Boy, that is an understatement, Debbie. What an amazing person. There are those people in your life that the minute you meet them, you feel like you've known them forever, right? And Pete is like this, just amazing. I asked him, where he hails from, because I said I got to swing by and see you sometime. Because that's someone I'd love to meet face to face. Because what an amazing soul, and his colleague Anne Marie is also super super wonderful. So I just fell in love with both of them, and that happens. And even Crazy Mike says the same thing. So we'll put that up just for Pete. Um, Crazy says my dad was in Korea and he loved watching MASH, the 4077. And we have a MASH 4077 Hawkeye IV bottle. Oh my gosh, you got one of those, eh? Yeah, I would imagine for your dad, that's kind of significant, isn't it? Was it anywhere? Did your dad ever say that was like any of it was like super silly or ridiculous? Or did some of it have a ring of truth in MASH? I'm just curious. Mike says, "Hi, Terry. How are you doing?" I'm doing well because you're here. Thank you for asking. David Lewis, gotta love the weather. Hi, group. Gotta love the weather. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Fan, overcast. Happy birthday to me. And it's in May. So it's not my birthday month yet. Frank says, my sister Robin is also a tribe member. She loves the face-to-face meetups you organize. Special part of being in the tribe. Frank's sister was the quiet one when we first met. She spoke to us a little bit, but she wasn't chattery like me. Okay. And she got in the tribe, and she just did a complete 180. And it has been such a joy to see someone like that feel so comfortable that they can actually have full-on conversations with us. She said to me, and it's one of the most touching statements that she said, was that she felt home. She felt like she was home. And that to me is very, very special. Just love having her as part of the tribe, Frank. Honestly, you should be too, but I won't go there. David says, I have friends who just got back from Paris Disneyland. They really enjoyed your dragon. David, have you been? It is really cool. Yeah. It's worth fighting for, What is it? I don't know the words, but I always say, a cause worth fighting for, from Mulan. I love Mulan. They always say, a girl worth fighting for. I change it. A cause worth fighting for. You kind of sing that to yourself when you're about to do something that you think might be a little nuts, but important. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. The other thing about Mike is he and Joe Penny play on words and pun a lot. So if you haven't been to this channel before and you see them, this might be why you see these entertaining little puns that are going through the world. Is a smart chicken known, he meant, as an egg-spurt, LOL, a chicken on the fast train is an egg-spress train. See what I mean? That would be play on words. Crazy Mike says, had a cup of ice in the freezer and the coin popped into my head. Yeah, I think this is a really fun idea. So basically, if you're concerned that, there could be they call them brownouts and blackouts and stuff, and you're on vacation and you don't know if your food in your freezer is safe or not, he's saying freeze a cup of water, put a coin on top, and as long as you come back and it's still there, ice skating on top of the ice, you're cool. But if it's sunk to the bottom and refrozen, you know that you had a power outage. Pretty smart. Thank you for that tip. I like that hack. Pat says, you're right about the stories. My sister's father-in-law was North China POW during World War II. He didn't like to talk about it, but we have so many documents from that time. I'll tell you, Pat, it's amazing. Another friend of mine was a prisoner of war, and he was caught by the Japanese. And so to this day, he cannot handle chopsticks. He doesn't like seeing them at all. Will not go a restaurant that has chopsticks. Will not. He just sends him over the edge. So out of respect, if we go to have sushi, which is one of my favorite foods in the world, or anywhere where there's chopsticks, we don't take him along. We we take him to a restaurant that he prefers, whatever that restaurant is. But Asian restaurants, he's just not good with because of his history. So we respect people's history, don't we? And I totally understand why you respected, your sister's father, because some of this stuff is just devastating. We've not been there, so we don't know what they experienced and what happened. I also met a German woman. She was 80, 90 years old. We were writing our memoirs I went to a, what do they call it? Not a retreat, symposium maybe. But it was where writers could go and meet and talk to other writers who had been successful writing their books in certain genres. And we connected with people who were in the memoir division, where we're all of us writing our beginning memoirs. I haven't published it yet, so I did a little book, but that's another story. Anyway, the memoir division, this woman had written a memoir about being a young girl during this German war, and a concentration camp was not, it wasn't a concentration camp that was beyond her wall where she lived, but something was there. It was like an area, and maybe the concentration camp was miles forward, but when they walked people out to this desolate area, it was the other side of her wall, and they shot people there. And she remembers hearing the cracks and the pops, but her mom said never go over the other side of that wall, and didn't tell her why. Why, mama? Well, just don't go to the other side of that wall. Don't you dare. Years later, when she was in college and she learned about some of the things that were happening, she went back to her home that they had once moved out of, and she went around to the other side of the wall. And she said, and their book was writing about how she felt as a young German girl who knew nothing. She was kept sequestered from all of the atrocity that was happening. That all of a sudden, what it was like to become aware of what had happened as a girl. So it was really interesting to talk to her about that, because it's just wild, Look, it's Joe. Facebook is up. Okay. You put a wrong word on Facebook, a no-go to your room, and no, oh no, go to your room and no dinner, LOL. I saw it too, but I like people to speak their mind, not say spelling. Deanna! Hi, honey. Morning. I'm in Arizona tomorrow. The celebration of life for my mom. Ah, darling. Well, I'm sorry that it has to be a celebration for your life for your mom, but I'm glad you're in Arizona. Are you happy to be coming and seeing your old stomping ground? Deanna is still in, I think I said Diana. Sorry, Deanna. Deanna is from, she was in Arizona, but now she moved to Florida because she was excited to move to Florida. She's a Disney person, so she was on her way, and so she says she likes it there. But I'm really happy to hear from you today. We've missed you. The question in WDW: why don't you put the dome up here? Why don't you put the dome up here? Is a crazy answer to tell them, and they will believe. I'm not quite sure I understand that one, Mike. The dome is made of charged ions, and the magnetic fields in the park in the ride causes the ions to reverse and make holes in the dome, and it falls down, so we don't put it up anymore. I didn't even know that. Wow, that's all I'm going to say about that, Mike. I'm just going to say wow. Today is Clint Eastwood's 94th birthday. He's still busy directing his final film. Yeah, I still want to meet Clint Eastwood, so if you guys have an in, I'm willing to take him to lunch. I mean, I'm willing to pay and take him to lunch. I just need 15 minutes of his time to tell him how amazing he is, and why. I have some specifics. But I've met Eli Wallach and I've met Lee Van Cleef. I'd like to meet Clint Eastwood. But happy birthday to Clint Eastwood. I'll be sure and post that later. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yay, Clint Eastwood. There you go. Happy birthday to Clint Eastwood. Mike asks how my mom is doing. She's doing fine. I'm going to go see her this afternoon. Fingers crossed. I would like to go see her, spend some time with her. That would be fun. I'm a little scratchy in my throat, though, so I don't know if I should. I'm a little, but I'll call and say, you need to check out the doctor. You need to check out Doctor Who from 1963 to 1970, all black and white on Tubi. Okay, I will. I will do that. That sounds fun. A person whole cover is not a thing to me. It doesn't it sound bad? It sounds bad. Mike, it sounds bad. John Paragon is buried at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. John B. the Genie on Pee Wee's Playhouse. Oh, yeah, I remember. Now, see, you did that just right. Thank you, Frank. Perfect. And Mike says, working on my train layout, I have to kneel on the layout to work on the back mountain. So I'm going to make a cardboard shell over it so I can remove it and glue the fake rocks on a piece, then put it. I get it. Now, let me say something to you. You should try foam. I once taught a lot of train enthusiasts how to carve the mountains like we do at Disney. Then you don't have to do any of that extra work. Just saying. Back in place, right. Cassandra Peterson had his cremated remains until they got him into the cemetery. Yeah, I understand that. Yep. I mean, this is what happened with Michael. He was with Annie. He died in December, and he was with Annie until now. So now he's at the cemetery. So yay for him. I'm happy for him. I really am. I think he taught me a lot about, what you do when you don't have a lot of family and you want to take care of, you want to figure out what you're doing, how he talked about how he had already, he was so organized. And so he talked about some of the things that he had left for people and how he had, done the whatever. So this is really cool. This is very cool to hear that. Hey there. Hello to Galaxy of Film Productions. Don't you wish there was an AI verbal interface to photos like let me dote on my children when they were little? Hey, that's pretty clever, Frank. I like the way that sounds. I think that's kind of fun. There's some high galaxies, so oh, that's neat. So you get that. And then this is Debbie, and she asked me how I'm doing. I'm doing good now. Glad you're here. Very glad you're here. Mike says, hey, Terri, back in the day, the announcer says the following is a special presentation of ABC Sports. That's right. Now, Mike likes to talk announcer fellas and ladies, he's into that. You'll notice that. Any blimps still used? I've never actually seen one in person. Oh, they're awesome. Yes, they still fly. A lot of times during the Rose Parade and also a college football game. Rose Bowl comes to mind. It says Goodyear. Oh, forgive me. I don't know where that came from. It says Goodyear on the side. And that's the cool thing. So, yeah. Very, very, very awesome. Very, very awesome. If you like bats, you would love Austin. There's a bridge on Congress Street in downtown where a huge number of bats gather underneath and they leave to go get food every night at dusk. Crowds gather to watch them. It's a big deal. Joe, I love these bats. Yeah, I'm a bat. I love them. I have a really nice skeleton here that I got, and it's really wonderful. There's a place called Maxilla and Mandible. I think they're still in business. And I got an articulated skeleton, which doesn't mean that it moves. It just means that it's all connected into the bony bat shape. But I love it a lot. And they really fascinate me. I always go and check out the fruit bats because I think they're a lot of fun. They're just really beautiful. I don't think I've ever held one, nor do I need to. I just like watching them in their environment. I feel the same way about vultures. So I did a facial reconstruction class in Texas, and there's a restaurant there. Kind of weird that it's a restaurant, but there's a restaurant there where all the giant vultures come and sit on these fence posts, like, and just sort of do their thing, whatever that vulture thing is, eat whatever. And they're huge. I never really realized how big these turkey vultures and all kinds of different vultures are, but they're big. And it was great to study them up close. It was just, I'm fascinated by all kinds of species, and they're a pretty wide species. In your head, you hear Billy was a bad guy who carried a big gun. He was always after lawmen who kept them on the run. Anyway, so that's what happens when I see vultures. I gotta say, So, but Joe, I'm going to check that out because that sounds amazing. And Magic TV is in the house saying hello, everyone. Jason says hello to everybody. And AJC says hello to me. Hello back. Let's see. Get your hubby an RC car, the XO-1 out of the box. It will do 100 miles per hour, 0 to 60. 0.2 and 2.9 seconds, 0 to 100, 4.9 seconds. Let's see a real car do that speed. If you do, you will be arrested. That's funny. I'll mention it. This says, hello, my dears, Debbie, Amy. She's just saying hello to everybody. Joe says, Mexican free-tailed bats in Austin from late March to the fall, every night, just thousands of them. And it's amazing. It's amazing. In fact, I played with a bat house here, but unfortunately the bat to guano, there's more guano than bat. So it's a little challenging to have a bat house unless you live out in an area where you could put it in the forest, so that the recycling of nature's recycling could happen naturally, not in your backyard in the city. Not real smart. But it's great if you're one of those people who wants to keep mosquitoes down, because the bats can eat thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands in one evening. So, it'd be great if I had just one little patch of land where I could put a bat house so the bats would come and then they could take care of my whole Burbank area. We wouldn't have to worry about mosquitoes, which I don't worry about them, but they certainly do love to bite me. That's for sure. I will take a picture of the bottle and send it to you, Terry. Thank you, Mike. Mike is often sending me some of his projects that he's doing. And it's pretty impressive. And we have, it's me, David, saying hello to all humans. That's nice of you, David. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, I'm looking for stories, actually. I know you guys can say hi to each other, but I don't need to bring that up. Years ago, for Father's Day gift, I had a Super 8. I had all Super 8 movies put on VHS. Then years after that, onto disc, and then to YouTube. Oh, you know what, Mike? That's a good idea, is posting some of that to YouTube. I didn't even think of that. I thought about discs, but I didn't think about YouTube. You see, I am old school. So there you go. I think that's great. I think that's really great. Let's see. Crazy Mike says, Terry, there are some that ask in WDW to put up the weather dome to keep out the weather. No such thing. There's no such thing as a 43 square mile. If they ask, that's what you tell. Okay, now thank you for explaining, Mike. That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, it would be nice because Florida is so hot and sticky and yucky, and everyone hates those love bugs. Oh my gosh. I was like, what are these bugs that are flying everywhere in Florida attached to the butt? And people go, oh, they're those creepy love bugs. And nobody says, oh, they're the love bugs. Aren't they cute? Nobody says that. Everyone says, yuck. So there you go. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Oh, this is neat. So David Lewis says, by the way, Costco has a Lego tiny tree garden set that is $40-ish. This is a great place to buy Lego if you like Lego. Thank you, David. Terry, I have to stick with the white glue rocks and toilet paper since I have a gallon of white glue. It will go to waste. I use foam blocks as structures the inside of the mountains. Yeah. All right, I won't show you my technique. I did change it though. I was working at a studio called K&B for Kurtzman, Nicotero, and Burgo. Or if Nicotero sounds familiar to you, it's because Greg Nicotero is the director of The Walking Dead. So if you love The Walking Dead, it's because of Greg, probably. Anyway, we would used to sit on Thursday evenings after the shop. We closed the shop down. All of us would bring model kits, and one of the things I taught them how to do was to sculpt better rock work. And they've been doing it ever since, and they love it. But it's always your choice, isn't it? Yes, it is. CJ Lane says, loving this. You are fantastic. Love you for saying that, CJ. It's been a little over an hour, and I'm just going through what you guys have to say because it's fun. Pat says, I remember watching the blimp go by as a kid. It has the most amazing light show on the side. It went by. Yeah, I've always wanted to ride in one, and I finally got to. And if I can find those pictures, I'll show them to you sometime because it's me going, yay, I'm on the blimp. It was really fun. And it's not loud and vibraty. It just kind of goes a warm hum because it just like a big whale in the sky, just kind of floats along on its merry way. And it really is awesome if you get a chance. It's only invitation only. So you have to find someone who knows someone to get an invitation to be on. And I got lucky enough to get on, and I absolutely adored it. I was just like a kid in a candy store. I loved the blimp so much, getting to be a part of that, you know. CJ says we have tiny bats at dusk. They dive around the streetlights. Yes, I remember doing what was it called? College theater? No. I want to say college theater, but that's not right. Musical theater from after college. That's what it's called. And it was a traveling group of people who did it. And we were up in near I can't remember the college now, but it's over near like Winnetka and Victory Boulevard. And that college, which also has a farmer's market, pretty cool place, had the bats flying around. A lot of people didn't like it. I dug it. I was like, they're not birds, they're bats. Yep. That is awesome. That's awesome. In NASA, Eagle built built a nest on top of the Gemini rocket. The nest is 6 feet wide. It's in a rocket garden. Don't know if it's still there. Oh, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, giant. Well, these eagles are big, right? Yeah, they're big. Oh, look, Surfer Girl has joined us. Hi, Surfer Girl. Took me a while to get to you, huh? Terry, if you put up a bat house, you need to put up a Robin house as a Batman and Robin. See what I mean, guys? He's quick. He is very quick. Warm whale in the sky, says Surfer Girl. And then you've said hello to each other here, it looks like. Let's see what we got here. Crazy Mike says, I want to make a triangle out of balsa wood, like 3 feet, and tape glow sticks on it and launch it with a helium balloon at night. It will look like a UFO, no sound, just glowing at night. Yeah, it will make everybody say, what the hey? It'll say, what the hey? Surfer Girl says, when we went in 2016, it was in a tree, Mike. Yes, 6 feet wide. The eagle, not the UFO. Thank you for joining me. Guys, do something nice for someone else. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. I'm sure Pete is feeling wonderful as he guided you all to me, and I'm so grateful. I thank him every time, and I thank you for being here and being a part of this every Monday and Friday. Also, thank you for allowing me to have that little bit of rest. It really was good. And later on, I'll talk about I've got a new camera facing me, and I'm very happy about it. One thing about Memorial Day is there's sales, and I found this amazing Black Magic camera, and we have it here, and I'm so excited about it. We'll talk about that if you want to at some point. But I'm in broadcasting to stay. So we decided to invest in it. Before, it was older cameras, USB, duct taping it together to see if this artist was even dedicated to such a thing. And now, after 5 years, I guess I am. So we are going to let Surfer Girl say it the way that no one can say it best. Have a great weekend, everybody. Love and kisses, and I will see you on Monday. Don't forget Parade at the Planets, an hour before sunrise. Let me know if you got to see it, and we'll talk about it then. We'll talk to you soon. See you. Be well.